back. Tons of college basketball. A big hockey game tonight in Boston. We are going to tell you how to bet these games. We're going to tell you how to make money on today's slate. And we've got a great show lined up for you. Teddy covers on today. He's going to take apart the USC Maryland game. He's going to look at LA versus Milwaukee and Memphis versus Indiana. Kyle Anthony after that. We're going to look at some UFC. Then we've got Andy Lang with some prop bets. And of course, we're going to end the show with the great Gianni The Greek. I'm Lawrence Presman. Welcome to WagerTalk Today. If you've never watched the show, stay with us, guys. We're going to have some laughs, but most importantly, we're going to give you guys some winnable betting information. It's going to start right now. Cue the stud up. Teddy covers. I miss you, my brother. How are you?
Lawrence, so nice to see you, my friend. What's a good word?
Well, how was my intro, dude? I've been working on it since I dumped your ass.
So it's funny because I was going to, like I used to, text you as you were doing the intro, but it was fine. You know, I had minor complaints, but no major complaints with the intro.
Okay, well, listen, you have a wife. Send her your complaints. Theodore, before we get into some chat, let's get into some actionable betting information. USC tonight, they're on the road. They're plus 12.5. They're playing against Maryland. The total here is 154.5, and this is a 20-6 Maryland team who are, well, ready to roll or not. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, I'm seeing more 11.5s and 12s on this game than I am 12.5s total, at least looking at the odds logic screen. And by the way, promo code Teddy will get you a 7-day free 7-day trial with the odds logic screen. I encourage you, check that out today. It's a really good product. Again, promo code Teddy for the odds logic 7-day all access free trial. But I'm seeing more 12s, 154 on the board right now. Opened last night, Maryland 10.5, 153. And I'll start with this. I agree with the money, at least so far. The Terps are real, all right? They've won 7 of the last 8. They're, 3-0 ATS their last 3. They're 4-2 ATS Big Ten at home. They've won 12 straight at home, 15-1 at home this season. It's been a home court that's been worth something so far. And from a point spread value standpoint, I don't know we're going to get a ton from Maryland. You know, they're ranked top 15 in everything, you know, Ken Pom or Torvik or et cetera, et cetera. That being said, they deserve that ranking. Maryland is absolutely loaded. All 5 starters have averaged double figures. Derek Queen, Jacoby Gillespie, Julian Reese, Rodney Rice, Selton Miguel, you know, the Crab 5, they're calling them. And that is an elite starting 5 for Maryland. That's a good team. All right. It's a team capable of making a big run. And obviously the stats show it. So from a value standpoint, I don't love Maryland right now, but I don't want USC today. Plain and simple. Trojans, look, they're coming off a bad loss to Minnesota, a game in which they blew a 14-point lead. And the Gophers played well in that contest. But nonetheless, at home, losing to Minnesota, not a good sign at this stage of the season. And I hate this travel spot for the Trojans. Think about the West Coast teams, all right, since the beginning of January. And these aren't seasoned traveling, you know, like, oh, I've been traveling my whole life. No. They're moving around now in a way they've never done. But since the beginning of January, they've already gone on a road trip, played at Illinois and Indiana, then back to LA, then to Nebraska, then back home, then to Northwestern and Purdue, then back home. Now they're heading east again, the last road trip of the season east. I don't love it for USC. The markets don't love it. Maryland's real. If I'm playing, I'm laying with the Terps tonight. Maryland or pass for this better.
Teddy covers USC. Panda agrees. He doesn't like the times change as well. I do have a question for you. Look, I'm hearing in your voice that this is a tentative bet. This is more of a lean than anything else. Maryland's just not covering this number. They did against Iowa, but before that, it was January 23rd, a 91-70 against Illinois. Everything else is just keep the games close, get out of Dodge. Does that worry you at all?
Yeah. I mean, this is not a client play for me tonight. I worry from a value standpoint about Maryland. I kind of talked about at the top how they had, they're power rated, top 15 in everything right now. So when you're looking for teams that are power rated a little bit lower, that may offer some point spread value down the stretch. Teams you can ride. I don't look at Maryland as a team I can ride right now. I look at Maryland as a team. If I'm playing Maryland, it's a game here, it's a spot there. It's not a team they're like, all right, hey, there's a ton of value on this squad moving forward because their numbers are so high and their statistical profile is so impressive. That being said, Terps are live to win the whole thing. I mean, that's an elite team. Don't sleep on them next month or tonight.
Teddy Covers joining us. You're watching Wager Talk Today. If you like what you're hearing, there's a thumbs up button. Take 1 second out of your day and please hit that. 195,000 subscribers. Let's get to 200,000. Please, if you have not subscribed to our channel, do so. Unbelievable content goes all day. Puck Time will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll be hosting with Carmine Bianco, so check that out. Teddy, let's turn our attention to the NBA. Technically, well, not mathematically, but the second half of the season is about to begin. We got a big slate tonight. Let's start with Memphis against Indiana. Indiana here at plus 2.5. Huge total, almost 250. With that said, Indiana and Washington got to 164 in Indiana's last game. How are you handicapping this?
That was an overtime game, let's not forget.
Yeah.
It was 264, but that was an OT game. And, of course, the Pacers were lucky to win that game, facing the worst team in the league before the break. But they overcame a 19-point deficit and found a way to win it 134-130 in OT. Looking at my Odds Logic live odds screen, again, use promo code TEDDY. Get a free 7-day all-access trial for the Odds Logic live odds screen. It's a really good product. But right now, all the money has come for Memphis. -2, -2.5. Total up to 250 from 248.5. This has been a very one-sided series in recent years. Grizzlies 6-1 straight up, 7-0 against the spread against Indiana since 2022. Every Memphis win during that span, 6 of them, has come by double digits. The only loss came when half the team was injured last year, and they still managed to cover the number. The only meeting this season, the Pacers went nuts early. They hung 45 in the first quarter. They were up 54-37 mid-second, up by 17. And then Memphis made a run and didn't stop. It was 74-53 Grizzlies after halftime. They won the game by 15. These first game back off the All-Star break, I'm always interested in the coaches' quotes. Here's what Rick Carlisle had to say, the Indiana Pacers head coach. Quote, playing Memphis is the first game back. You're getting thrown into the deep end in terms of physical, competitive, high-level opposition. They're number 2 in the West. They've had a great year. They play a style that's very difficult style to defend. They play fast. They play physical. And they've got star players. In other words, Carlisle is making excuses already. Now, last year, the Pacers, after the break, they won by 14 at home against the Pistons. The Grizz lost 5 straight coming out of the All-Star break. They did cover +9, losing by only 6 to the Clippers. A true wire-to-wire cover in their first game back. So both teams under these head coaches have good track records in that first game back. You know, Indiana looked a little gassed down the stretch. They didn't play great basketball. They were 2-3 straight up in their last 5 games. And again, one of the wins came against the Wizards in overtime. Tyreke Halliburton, quote, every first practice after the All-Star break is typically just a lot of running. You know, you're playing, you're doing a bunch of different things. I feel like as a group, we might have been looking a little tired over those last 6 or 7 games. You know, these last 29 games, we want to be better. Hopefully the break was refreshing for everybody. Indiana should get Miles Turner back in the line. Miles Turner's a guy who is absolutely impactful on the court and rarely affects the point spread. So I think that is in Indiana's favor for this evening. That being said, I really love this quote from Jaren Jackson. I worry about the teams that sent a bunch of guys to the All-Star game. Memphis wasn't necessarily one of them, but Jackson, after the All-Star festivities, quote, now that it's over, my mind is completely pivoted back to Memphis. My mind's definitely in Memphis as soon as the buzzer went off. Back with our team, and I'm just ready to get back to the team, honestly. So the lean here is Memphis. We've missed a number. The lean here is over as well, and that one we haven't missed a number quite so much. I do expect a lot of tempo tonight. 250, no joke of a total. That being said, I'm not sure how much defense we're going to see from either side this evening, and I am expecting a relatively high-scoring affair. So lean Grizzlies, lean over with the Pacers and Memphis tonight.
Teddy Covers joining us. Teddy, Let's go to the LA Lakers and Milwaukee. One of our listeners wrote that he just put some money on Milwaukee and he expects Giannis to play. Where are you going in this game?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we have the right opponents that we're talking about. Is, of course, the LA Clippers in Milwaukee against the Bucks, not the Lakers. The Lakers are in Portland tonight on the second of back-to-backs after falling at home last night to Charlotte. Looking at the odds logic screen right now, it's been all Clippers money so far. Minus 2.5,
let me
minus
guess.
3 in many books. Total 229. Let you guess what, Lawrence?
Teddy 7.
I'm sorry?
Teddy 7 for 7 days free. Odds logic. Take advantage of that. It's an incredible product.
Sure, but you don't need the 7. Just Teddy is the promo code.
There you go. Just do it 7 times. 7 of you use the promo code Teddy at Odds Logic. Incredible product. Sorry, dude.
Let's talk about the Bucks and the Clippers for tonight. Like I said, all the money's been coming in for LA, and it's everything to do with the Bucks injury report. We don't know if Giannis is going to play tonight. We don't know if Damian Lillard is going to play tonight. Both players listed as questionable. The early money has shown for LA. The markets are not convinced we're going to see Lillard and or Antetokounmpo this evening. And if the Bucks don't have that duo, I don't really want Milwaukee. There are some teams. Memphis is a great example, a team we just talked about. Indiana's a great example, a team we just talked about. When they're missing a key player or two, boy, the depth is there and everyone else steps up. And we trust those squads when they're missing players and catching extra points. Milwaukee's not like that. When Giannis isn't in the game, when Lillard is in the game, the supporting cast simply isn't good enough. Even with Kyle Kuzma joining the team. And of course, Doc Rivers isn't too worried. Well, we started out, 2-8. We're 29-24. We'd love to be better. We dropped some games this year we clearly could have won, but those are all behind us. Hopefully we'll have great health in the second half of the year. And I love where we're at. That's not an urgency quote. There's urgency for the Clips, in a sense. Nicholas Batum, we got a lot of road games coming up. They're on a long road trip here to come out of the break. It can be good as a team just to stick together, get together in the gym, practice, get to know the guys. We've got some great big games coming up. It'll be good for the rest of the season. Clippers beat the Bucks soundly last month. James Harden scored 40 points. They beat him by 10 in that contest. And in general, I'm going to bet against NBA line moves 5 points, regardless of player absences. Milwaukee, I don't know if I'm doing that tonight. If Giannis plays, you'll get a great number right now with the Bucks. That being said, I'm not convinced he's going to be in action tonight, and that's one we're going to wait until a little bit closer to tip-off before we get involved with it. If we get involved at all, Lawrence. We need to know if the Bucks' top 2 guys are in or out.
Of course. There we go. Teddy likes Maryland over USC. A lean on the Clip. Well, not really anything there. Just a wait and see with the Clippers in Milwaukee. And you like Memphis and the over, but we did miss that number in Memphis. My brother, what do you have to promote for the clients other than Teddy over at Odds Logic?
Well, we got a pair of plays up in the association for tonight. I got a whole list of stuff to talk about post All-Star break NBA. If you want to go there, Lawrence, because I do have some notes for post All-Star break strategies in the association.
Yeah, let's do it.
We had a nice run with 67% the last week before the break in the NBA, 61% here in February, and I am locked and loaded with a pair of NBA winners for tonight. We may add more later, but right now there's 2 that absolutely stood out, one of which is a 4-star, one of which is a 3-star. You can get them both right now. The value price package, WT.buzz/TC.
Well, speaking of TC, tell us these thoughts going into the second half of the NBA season. Regale us with some strategy. All you're going to do is eat up Kyle and Andy's time. I'm okay with that.
Sorry, Kyle. Sorry, Andy. You'll get there. So let's start with this. When you're talking about post-All-Star break NBA strategies, and it's not the midway point of the season, it's the 2/3 point of the season. All right, we got a third of the season left. And the number one thing that I can say about post-All-Star break NBA betting is the season-long stats are completely meaningless Anything you're looking at with season-long stats are useless. It's current form.
Right.
Season-long records are completely meaningless. It's current form. You can ask anyone who was betting the Nets, the Blazers, and the Wizards the last 2 or 3 weeks before the All-Star break what season-long records are going to tell you. All right. Nets, Blazers, and the Wizards made a fortune for their backs before the All-Star break. And they're all 3 bottom feeders. All right. This is important to note. Must win does not equal will win. Players don't give a crap about seeding. They really don't. Markets react to nothing in those spots. So be careful of they must win to get in the postseason. Pay attention to pace. Again, your season-long stats are going to tell you this is what their pace teams play at. And yet, when teams change their pace, the markets don't adjust. Spurs, 12-3 to the over last 15. Hornets, 10-3 to the under last 13, et cetera, et cetera. You can go on and on when you look at pace right now. But again, the season-long stats will often lie. And one more thing to talk about. When you talk about teams that are truly tanking, and we'll probably see a handful of those squads between now and the end of the season, no point spread is high enough for a team that is thrown in the towel. 18, 20, 22, doesn't matter. The team's not competing. Value isn't there. There's just 5 little things. Our break. I hope that helps for you, Lawrence.
Teddy, I thought that was amazing. We're going to stay on this topic because it's super interesting. And plus, Kyle and Anthony are so fast. They're real pros. Anyway, what I want to ask you, firstly, I agree with everything you said, and it's totally relevant to NHL as well. Carmine and I are on Puck Time tomorrow. We're going to actually discuss this exact topic. Don't look at these year-long statistics. A great example in the NHL would be the Philadelphia Flyers or the Montreal Canadiens, 2 teams that have overachieved coming to this point of the season and now are going to regress. Teddy, let's talk a few of those teams that you think are tankers moving forward, where there will be value to bet against them. I put the Chicago Bulls at the top of that list.
Sure, the Bulls certainly showed a lot of tanking potential down the stretch before the All-Star break. In terms of a team that didn't give it. And the Bulls aren't a true tanker because about once every 5 games they show up. But they certainly have that potential. Be interested to see what Philadelphia does down the stretch, and how the Sixers season ends up playing out. The Phoenix Suns are a team that could be interested in paying attention to. And how are Utah and New Orleans going to play out? Just a handful of teams. But again, I'm not trying to predict right here which teams are going to tank in the last 20, 25 games. What I want to do is take advantage once I start seeing the signs of teams that are throwing in the towel. And you're actually right in terms of Chicago as being a team that showed real signs of that in the last couple of weeks before the break.
Teddy covers, outstanding segment. What else going on? Are you opening line reporters behind us? Where can people see you?
Well, let's see. I do WagerTalk Today. I do NBA. I do the college hoop show. We'll start with the MLB show coming up, and I'm doing free videos just about every day or many days. But just visit my page, WT.buzz/TC. Follow me on X at Teddy_covers.com, and I tweet just about everything that I'm on, Lawrence, including this show. So,
well, we love you, bro. Guys, head over to Odds Logic. Use the promo code Teddy. Check it out. Unbelievable odds screen. You get 7 days free. Use the promo code Teddy. Kyle Anthony joining us, everyone. Kyle is as good as it gets in the UFC and when he looks in the mirror. How are you, Kyle?
Doing good, Prez. Doing good. A lot of events coming up. And are you excited tonight about the finals, or do you even give at all about Canada versus USA?
Well, Kyle, I'm going to give out I'm going to do a little deep dive later on and give out an actual couple of picks on this game. But to answer your question, am I excited? I actually don't care that much, to be honest with you.
I knew it.
I think Canada is in a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
When you beat a team for 100 years and you got to give them one win every century. Let it be in a tournament that isn't the Olympics, isn't the World Cup, is just some made up event. So if America, the USA do win tonight, Way to go. Way to win a meaningless nothing. And if Canada wins tonight, ho hum. So, yeah, that's how I feel about tonight's game. Kyle, more importantly, let's talk some UFC. You are so good at this sport. Henry is back. He's fighting Song. This should be a hell of a fight, bro. How do we bet this one?
Yeah, so Henry is back, retired back in 2020 and came back 2023, lost 2 fights against Aljamain and Merab. Can't fault him there, but he's 38 years old now and probably on the brink of another retirement. But either way, when you're looking at this fight on Saturday night, the big part about here is going to be him looking for the wrestling. Obviously, that's his main path. And really what he's going to need to do here is absolutely wet blanket Song. He's going to need to keep him, down, wrestle him, push that pace. And that's the big thing here that you're looking at a 38-year-old, that can he push a wrestling pace for 25 minutes? The upside here is, can he get a finish? I'm not on that side of it looking for the finish. If Henry's going to get the victory, he's going to need to implement a lot of that wrestling, keep Song down positionally. But Song in their side here comes from Team Alpha Male Camp. He has a good wrestling background, solid foundation, 72% takedown defense rate. That's absolutely going to be tested here. And the big thing here is, also is that, Henry Cejudo is kind of undersized for the division a little bit. He's going to be 2 inches shorter. He's going to have a 3-inch disadvantage. And I think that's also going to add some advantages to Song Yadong, where we're talking about the takedown defense. Now, I think he's going to have the physicality. I think he's going to have the strength, where we're talking about inside the clinch on takedowns. That's going to be the vulnerability on Song, but I think it also is the availability for him to sprawl and brawl and create space. And if this plays out on the feet, big advantages here for Song Yadong. He's got the cleaner striking, the harder hitter, better combinations, and the other part, again, 3-inch reach advantage. So I think he's just more dynamic compared to Henry at this particular point. So the way I'm going on this fight is pretty much both these guys are very durable. Both these guys can take a shot, and Henry, on the other side here, he has only been finished 1 time in his professional career. You've got Song Yadong finished twice in his professional career. Once was in 2020 against Corey Sandhagen, and the other was in 2014, way back when. So I think this is a spot where there's going to be opportunities for both to look good in certain rounds, but I do think that Henry, his power, is going to get this on the scorecard. So getting off the big number here, I do like Song Yadong by points, and that's sitting at plus 130, and I think that's how he gets the job done on Saturday night.
There we go. Henry against Song, and you like Song by plus 130. You've got another bet for us. This is quite the name. That would go good with
Just say milk. Just say milk.
With
milk Costa.
Lime and salt. Melquizale. Do you know that I have an uncle? True story. Swear to God on my life. I have an uncle. That's my story. So Melquizale Costa versus Andre Fili. Who's going to win this one?
All right, so in this one here, we got Mel Costa here, and he is minus 120. The comeback here on Fili, he is plus 100. Now, this line opened up around minus 180 for Fili, depending where you're shopping it, and it has been all Costa money coming in, and I kind of believe it's a little bit to do with the fact that Fili is now 34 years old, ton of MMA mileage, a lot of wars he's been in, and, it's just kind of also looking that even his last fight against Cub Swanson, not the greatest look, although he got the victory, it wasn't his best performance. Now, Costa on her side here, solid Muay Thai, well-rounded, but he's 2-2 within the UFC, and even the guys that he beat, little suspect here, where Austin Lingo he beat, not very good. He's cut from the organization, and his most recent fight against Nurzulton, I forget who it was, actually, to be honest with you. But it was a 2-0 going into the 3rd round. And it really kind of looked like Costa was not going to be, kind of going to be getting the job done here. He ends up gassing, allowing Costa to get the victory, submission victory in the 3rd round. And he's got decent grappling, but also the fact he makes a lot of positional decisions that are mistakes. Now, Fili on the other side here, he's got a lot of experience. I think that he's a UFC vet that really has put it all together. And any way you look at it, he's better everywhere that I think that Costa is. There's really nowhere that I think Costa has the advantage. I think that you've got Fili, who's going to have the sharper boxing. He works very well behind his jab, sets up his combinations very well. Good volume, and also he can mix in the takedowns. And I think that's really where this can go here, where he can work in some takedowns, mix it up a little bit, very well-timed takedowns behind his combinations. He will also have a 3-inch reach advantage. So again, a lot of availability there for him to get the job done. Plus, you're looking at that this is a sizable step up in competition also for Costa. And you're looking at a pick-em price tag, while, Fili has faced high-level guys throughout his career, guys like Dan Ige, Nathaniel Wood, Joe Anderson Brito. I mean, these are high-level guys, and that's just the caliber of opponent I think that Fili can beat, that Fili has advantages and has the experience over Costa. And then also, lastly, I just really do think that Andre can move forward. He can push the pace. He's going to have the better boxing. He's going to work in tight, mix it up a little bit. I like the way he stance switches and changes his angles. So in this spot here, I think that Costa doesn't have the goods here. I think that Fili, even at this point, and even with the wear and tear, is going to get the job done. So I don't agree with the line movement. I think if you're getting Fili at a short plus number, or pick him wherever it may be in there, I think it's a good spot, and I like Fili to get the job done.
Wow. Our number one MMA expert in the last 12 months nailed that segment. Song Yadong plus 130, Fili plus 100. And Kyle, I know you like Fili's and songs. I'm sure you did both last night. Anything to promote?
Fili's nickname is Touchy, is Andre Touchy Fili. I mean, for an MMA fighter, that's I guess good for him.
That I hear that's your nickname at the bar down the road.
I set myself up.
You did. Anything else?
No, that's it, man. I got 4% play up this weekend, and also the fact that I already have my 5% play up for UFC 313, which is going to be March 8th. If you buy this pack this weekend, you do get a code that's going to give you $10 off my 5% play. So we're going to be giving a little bit back there. And I really like the spots that we have. And again, a ton of UFC events coming up over the next couple of months. And we're going to keep rocking and rolling.
Love having you on, Kyle. Now go back to the mirror. Enjoy yourself. Kyle Anthony, everyone. Okay, so we got Andy Lang joining us. We got Gianni The Greek at the end of the show. Before we get into all of that, couple of quick announcements. Firstly, thank you guys for taking time to join us in the chat room. Please hit that like button. It would be really, really appreciated. I'm going to tell you guys how I think tonight's hockey game will go before I get into that. Last night, I was on the under in a college basketball game, the Valparaiso game. It was 139. It was 64-64 with 1 second on the clock. And I was like, oh no, we're going to overtime and I'm going to lose my under. And then it ended up being all right. Do you get my pun? All right. I kid you not. The name of the guy who hit the layup with 0 seconds on the clock, his name was All Right. A-L-L, right. Greatest freaking name ever. So now that pun is out of the way, I want to tell you guys, there is so much smack talk over America, Canada. Canada's going to be the 51st state. Canadians disrespected the American anthem. So let's get that out of the way. Firstly, most of the people in Canada love America. We think you guys are the greatest. We're very appreciative that you pay an exorbitant amount of money defending our borders. We're appreciative that we get to watch your great sports, look at your great female actresses, enjoy Hollywood, enjoy all the great things that America has given us. We love you guys. A few people booed your anthem. I can understand that. You have a president who wants to declare war on our country. It makes sense that they booed your anthem. It is not We're not mad. We love you guys. I love you Americans. I took American history at school. I can tell you who the 8th president of America was. Andy, don't Google it, but I'll ask you that question. Who is the 8th president of America, Andy?
Let's see. I don't know. I don't know the 8th. That would be outside of Adams, I believe.
Martin Van Buren. So I love America. I am an American fan. So I just want to get that out there. Okay? Now, with that said, no, I like Chicago. No, I don't like Chicago's pizza. That's, that's more of an Italian thing. I love Chicago. I had a girl in Chicago once. Anyway, how do you bet this game tonight, Andy? That's what I want to talk about. So, look, I'm going to make this real easy. If Canada won last Saturday, I would take America. But given that America won last Saturday, I'm going to take Canada. This is not a homer decision here. This is strictly one of those situations where I don't think either team can beat the other 2 games in a row in a 5-6 day period. It is that straightforward a handicap. These 2 teams are basically even. Look, the best player on the ice is Canadian, no doubt. The best defenseman on the ice is Canadian, no doubt. The best goaltender is American, and America has 2 animals in the name of Kachuk, which just randomly were born in America, given that his father played in Winnipeg for the majority of his career. But that's a different story. I like Canada tonight, and I like under the total. It is too high. I think we're going to see a low-scoring game. We saw a 3-1 game on Saturday. I think we're going to see a 3-2 game. I would bet 3-2. I like Sidney Crosby as the MVP for plus 450. Why? For some reason, Sidney Crosby always steps up in these big-time games. So I like the under, I like Canada, and I like Crosby at plus 450. Andy, do you have anything to add in regards to the game tonight?
I think everything's been said about it. The only thing that I was leaning was possibly Canada under 2.5 on their team total, because I think this could be like a 2-1 type of game, or like you said, a 3-2 game. I saw a prop. Will there be a 5-minute penalty in the first 6 minutes of the game? I would take the no on that one. I don't think this is the game where they drop gloves right off the. They got that out of their system. Tonight is about hockey. Tonight is about the game. I don't think these guys want to take any chances with stacking up a bunch of penalties to start the game. If you can find that prop, I really like the no 5-minute major penalties to start off with. And the fact is, we had some injuries in the last couple games, so I don't think these guys want to mix it up in this one. I think it's a really good defensive game, and I like the under. This will not be a client play or anything, but just watching Canada only score 1 goal against the U.S. goaltending was pretty good. That's kind of how I would lean, but again, not a client play. Nothing too crazy about it.
Well, there you go. So that's our take on the big game tonight. Guys, just enjoy the game tonight. Very rarely do we see in any sport best on best like this game that is happening tonight. So let's put all the politics aside. Canada and America love each other. We are all the same. The only difference is we're just slightly nicer. But it's just slight. It's not like a lot nicer. Andy,
you guys are a lot nicer. You guys are a lot nicer.
We are.
You guys apologize right before you bump into somebody. I've watched that happen. When you go around the corner and you almost bump into somebody, you're already apologizing. I watched a buddy of mine do that, and I was like, "You see why we say this? You see why we say you guys are too nice? You literally did what we say you do, which is apologize right before you bump into somebody. You guys are scared to tell people to excuse me off the sidewalk. Like, if someone's walking slow, instead of passing them and saying excuse me, you'll just walk slower behind them. I love Canadians. They are the absolute best.
JP writes, then stop booing our anthem. Why? It's created so much drama. JP, think about the drama that 7 people in all of Canada have caused. It's delicious. It's amazing. Boo our anthem, JP. JP, tweet out you in your room booing the Canadian anthem, which, by the way, Andy, is a shitty anthem.
Our anthem?
No, ours. Your anthem is good.
Oh.
It's got nice melody, a good crescendo. Our anthem stinks.
This the booing of the anthem kind of reminds me of when people were like, "Oh, they booed Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl." It's like, well, yeah, half the audience is from Philadelphia. Of course, they're going to boo the person rooting for the Chiefs. It wasn't a big statement. It was just the opposing fan base booing a fan of the other team. So, but I like the drama. It added spice to games that would not have normally had any spice to them whatsoever. So it's been a pretty good experience.
Dude, my favorite viewer, Michael Litteris, is back. He's got the best name ever. Michael Litteris. That's so good. Andy, you got a prop bet for us on the NBA and one on golf. We've yapped enough. I hand you the mic.
Okay, real quick. So yesterday on the show, I talked about Rui Hashimura to go over 1.5 made threes. He went under Prez, but he had 8 of them. He went 1 for 8. They play tonight. I would go right back to that. That's how you make money off these props. If it loses once, but you see those attempts are high, you go right back to it. So as soon as they release Hachimura over 1.5 made threes, I would go right back to it despite the loss. We're looking at the attempts, not the makes from last night. Tonight, a guy I like to go under his threes is Nikola Vucevic. You talked about the Bulls tanking there, Prez. His three-point shooting has absolutely fallen off a cliff. This was a prop we liked on the over to start the year. Now, last 10 games, he's shooting 21.2% from threes. That's awful. He's only attempting 4 3-point shots the last 8 games. He's gone under this in 4 straight games. And in 2 games against the Knicks, he's a combined 1 for 6 from 3. So Vucevic and the tanking Bulls, they're going to be a really, really good team to fade the rest of the year.
Yeah, and is that a prop we should be looking to bet on a regular basis? Like
it's looked really good.
Night?
Yeah, it's looked really good before the All-Star break. So, yeah, we talked about, Hachimura. You're not looking to get a quick score off of one game in these props. You're looking to go 5-2, 6-2 with these. So, if Vucevic, if you see his attempts are way down, yeah, keep playing the under. He's not shooting the ball well. His motivation's at an all-time low, and I'm not sure he's going to get a ton of minutes, especially if they're playing well and they might be winning. Some of these guys that are scoring, they're gonna yank them. So, yeah, Vucevic under. I would continue monitoring this one, and you probably can get a nice run on the unders.
Andy Lang. Andy, golf is underway. Starts today. You've got a bet for us that goes off at 1:54 Eastern time. What is it?
Yeah, we're going to take Akshay Bhatia under 68.5 round 1 score. This is what works great about some of these tournaments. I've been able to watch all morning, and the course is super easy. There's no wind out there. The weather is beautiful. I mean, you've got the leaders at -6. You got a couple guys at -5. You got some guys at -4, and all he needs to do is go -3 to cash this. He finished 4th here 2 years ago. He went under this total in the first 3 rounds, and he's had a really good year. 9th, 32nd, 22nd, the last 3 tournaments. And Prez, he had 2 rounds of 67 last week at the very difficult Torrey Pines course. He's the betting favorite for a reason this week. Solid strokes gained. I would look at his round 1 score under 68.5. And yeah, that tees off in about an hour and 20 minutes.
There we go. Andy freaking Lang, what do you got to promote?
We keep talking about the 7-day pass. You get 3 days added onto it for absolutely free. You're getting a free 3-day pass added onto it. Lock it in now because in 2 hours, darts plays start. We've got 3 official darts plays. We've got official lacrosse plays. We've got an NBA best bet that is up. We're 10-1 on NBA. This is a great time of year to see how much money you can make in other sports. We're up 39 units over the last 30 days. You get a UFC play